One day, they're in. Next day, they're out. And no, I'm not talking about contestants on Project Runway. I'm talking about fashion's biggest creative directors. Fashion houses used to have visionaries, designers who spent decades sharing a brand identity. Think Karl Lagerfeld at Chanel, Tom Ford at Gucci, Alexander McQueen at his own house. Now, designers barely make it 5 years before they're out of the door. Donatella Versace just announced she's leaving Versace.
English speakers would stop saying incorrectly.
Versace is Versace.
Something that would have been unthinkable years ago. But now, it's just a part of the cycle. So what's going on? Why can't creative directors stay put? And what does this mean for the future of all fashion houses? I'm Haley Henderson, the Princess of Fashion. Once upon a time, the creative director was a brand. Karl Lagerfeld spent 36 years at Chanel. His vision didn't just influence collaborations or collections, it influenced culture. Tom Ford built Gucci into a modern powerhouse in the 90s, and Galliano Dior was a pure theatrical genius. These designers didn't just design, they created a world, a lifestyle, a fantasy. And because they had time to build their vision, their influence lasted. You still see it in collections today. So, if long-term creative directors worked, why did it stop? Well, like most things in fashion, money. In the early 2000s, luxury brands became corporate empires. It wasn't just about artistry anymore, it was about profits. Now, brands don't even want visionary. They want a designer who could sell. This means trend chasing instead of long-term visions. Brands want fast results, so designers have to deliver hype, not heritage. More collections, less creativity. Back in the day, a designer put out 2 major collections in a year. Now we have pre-fall, capsule collections, and constant collaboration. Social media pressure. If a collection doesn't go viral instantly, the designer is blamed. But great fashion takes time, and these brands don't give them time. Now, let's talk about Donatella. She took over after Gian's passing, and for decades she kept the brand alive. Her aesthetic, sexy, powerful, bold was the Versace identity. So her stepping down is a huge moment. It marks the end of an era where designers and their brands were one and the same. The real question is, who replaces her? And can anyone truly continue her vision? Or will Versace become just another brand that's run by a revolving door of designers and with no real identity? Where is the individuality? Everything looks the same. Don't believe me? Look at Prada, then look at Fendi. Look at Bottega, then look at Balmain. Look at Balmain, then look at, well, Balenciaga. We used to have designers with strong vision. McQueen, Galliano, Mugler. Now it's algorithm-driven fashion. Safe, sellable, forgettable. Here's the thing. If I didn't tell you to design these collections, could you even tell? Because I can. Fashion used to be distinct. Think water and oil. We used to know who was the brand and who was running the brand. You knew when a dress was McQueen. You knew when something was Tom Ford Gucci era. Now, you squint at a runway image and go, is that Bottega? Is that Givenchy? Or is that Balmain? And that's the real problem. Fashion houses are becoming interchangeable because designers aren't given the time or freedom to build a brand's identity anymore. So, with designers constantly being replaced, what does fashion even stand for anymore? Are these brands just luxury labels with a rotating aesthetic? Dictated by trends, is fashion still about artistry or is it just business now? We used to wait for collaborations. A single runway show could change how people dress for years. But now, fashion feels disposable. They don't get time to build a narrative because before they even settle into their vision, they're out. Think about it. If brands don't let designers stay long enough to build something, how can we ever get another Galliano at Dior or Tom Ford at Gucci moment? Do you remember the shockwaves these collections sent through fashion? The drama, the romance, the impacts. It feels like we don't get those moments anymore, or if we do, they fade just as quickly as they came. I know I said before that fashion was dead, but maybe this isn't death. Maybe it's transformation. Maybe we're watching the old system collapse in real time. Maybe fashion isn't about visionaries anymore. Maybe it's about trend cycles. Maybe the era, the single genius designer is over, and the future belongs to collective teams, algorithms, and data-driven designs. And if that's the case, the real question is, what's next? Will fashion find its identity again, or is this just how things work now? Maybe that's why Daniel Lee Roseberry did the baby couture at Schiaparelli. So, tell me, if there's no one to lead these brands to victory, who's gonna lead the brands to victory? And when I say that, is it just TikTok, Instagram, and all other social media platforms that you enter through your phone? Or are we going to actually sit down and look at people who design collections for how they see the world rather than how the world sees us?